IDBI Bank Limited is an Indian financial service company headquartered in Mumbai, India. RBI has categorised IDBI as another public sector bank. It was established in 1964 by an Act of Parliament to provide credit and other facilities for the development of the fledgling Indian industry. It is currently 10th largest development bank in the world in terms of reach with 2413 ATMs, 1413 branches including one overseas branch at DIFC, Dubai and 996 centres including 2 overseas centres at Singapore and Beijing. IDBI Bank is on a par with nationalized banks and the SBI Group as far as government ownership is concerned. It is one among the 26 commercial banks owned by the Government of India. The bank has an aggregate balance sheet size of 3.2 Indian rupees a trillion as on March 31, 2013. History, overview of development banking in India. Development banking emerged after the Second World War and the Great Depression in 1930s. The demand for reconstruction funds for the affected nations compelled in setting up of national institutions for reconstruction. At the time of independence in 1947, India had a fairly developed banking system. The adoption of bank-dominated financial development strategy was aimed at meeting the sectoral credit needs, particularly of agriculture and industry. Towards this end, the Reserve Bank concentrated on regulating and developing mechanisms for institution building. The commercial banking network was expanded to cater to the requirements of general banking and for meeting the short-term working capital requirements of industry and agriculture. Specialized development financial institutions such as the IDBI, NABARD, NHB and SIDBI, etc., with majority ownership of the Reserve Bank was set up to meet the long-term financing requirements of industry and agriculture. Formation of Industrial Development Bank of India. The Industrial Development Bank of India was established in 1964 under an Act of Parliament as a wholly owned subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India. In 1976, the ownership of IDBI was transferred to the Government of India and it was made the principal financial institution for coordinating the activities of institutions engaged in financing, promoting and developing industry in India. IDBI provided financial assistance, both in rupee and foreign currencies, for greenfield projects as also for expansion, modernization and diversification purposes. In the wake of financial sector reforms unveiled by the government since 1992, IDBI also provided indirect financial assistance by way of refinancing of loans extended by state-level financial institutions and banks and by way of rediscounting of bills of exchange arising out of sale of indigenous machinery on deferred payment terms. After the public issue of IDBI in July 1995, the government shareholding in the bank came down from 100% to 75%. IDBI played a pioneering role, particularly in the pre-reform era, in catalyzing broad-based industrial development in India in keeping with its government-ordained Euro Development Banking Euro Unregistered Trademark Charter. Some of the institutions built with the support of IDBI are the Securities and Exchange Board of India, National Stock Exchange of India, the National Securities Depository Limited, the Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited, the Credit Analysis and Research Limited, the Exim Bank, the Small Industries Development Bank of India and the Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. Conversion of IDBI into a commercial bank. A committee formed by RBI under chairmanship of S.H. Khan recommended the development financial institution to diversify its activity and harmonize the role of development financing and banking activities by getting away from the conventional distinction between commercial banking and developmental banking. To keep up with reforms in financial sector, IDBI reshaped its role from a development finance institution to a commercial institution. With the Industrial Development Bank Act 2003, IDBI attained the status of a limited company viz., IDBI Limited. Subsequently, in September 2004, the Reserve Bank of India incorporated IDBI as a scheduled bank under the RBI Act, 1934. Consequently, IDBI formally entered the portals of banking business as IDBI Limited from October 1, 2004. The commercial banking arm, IDBI Bank, was merged into IDBI in 2005. Acquisition of United Western Bank, In 2006, IDBI Bank acquired United Western Bank Sitara in a rescue. By acquiring UWB, IDBI Bank more than doubled the number of its branches from 195 to 425. Listings and shareholding. IDBI Bank's equity shares are listed on Bombay Stock Exchange and the National Stock Exchange of India. As on March 31, 2013, Government of India held 71.72% shares in IDBI Bank. Over 4 lakh public shareholders owned 8.75% of its shares. Insurance companies held approximately 12.32% of the shares while remaining 7.21% shares were held by others. Employees. As on March 31, 2013, the bank had 15,465 employees, out of which 197 were employees with disabilities. The average age of bank employees on the same date was 33 years. The bank reported business of 25.64 Indian rupees crores per employee and net profit of 12.17 Indian rupees lakhs per employee during the FY 2012-13. The company incurred 1,538 Indian rupees crores towards employee benefit expenses during the same financial year. Awards and recognitions. IDBI Bank was ranked number 1197 in the Forbes Global 2000 in May 2013. It received the overall Best Bank and Best Public Sector Bank Awards in the Dun & Bradstreet Banking Awards, 2011. In 2011, it received Banking Technology Awards for Best Use of Business Intelligence and the Best Risk Management from Indian Banks Association. See also, IDBI Federal Life Insurance, IDBI Intech Limited. Banking in India, List of banks in India, references. External links, official website, IFSC code SWIFT MICRNO and BSR codes of all branches of IDBI Bank. News articles on IDBI Bank at Times of India, IDBI Bank at Bombay Stock Exchange, IDBI Bank at National Stock Exchange of India, IDBI Bank on Facebook.